Ooh, now here it is. Here
Well,
it
the
is.
protests there in Southern California have the Trump administration and Republican lawmakers seeking an investigation into where protest organizers are getting their funding. And not just the ongoing anti ICE protests, but also the pro Palestine demonstrations that took place on college campuses
Yeah.
over the past few years. Correspondent Rich McHugh is live to try and connect the dots here. So, Rich, what have you learned?
So they found a
Hi, Nicole.
billionaire.
Well, first of all, this is really complicated. The
Well,
big
it is.
question for everybody as these protests have unfolded in Los Angeles and across the country was who's funding them and who's behind all this. Now we know that the head of the FBI or the FBI and the IRS are have somebody in their crosshairs. So we took a look at this person. This is an American businessman, a former billionaire living in Shanghai at the moment. And
Former billionaire.
according to the House Oversight Committee, they tell News Nation he will be called to testify about his.
Wow, it looks like it looks like a true villain, doesn't it? That's the guy. Here's my take on that. I'm gonna call it that. They're not the zero thing that's gonna happen to him. I mean, they might question him and everything, but he's gonna be deny, deny, deny. Because it's probably he's given money to a group. That I mean, he probably knows how they're gonna do it and everything, but they probably try to hide it and how they spent it. So he's probably gonna say, just like if I give money to like ABC group, whatever, in the guise of like maybe human or human aid or any human rights advocate aid or something like that, something along that line. And they used it against like to fund whatever, riots, buy gears and whatever to the thing. And I could just say deny. I could just deny that, you know. And he's a billionaire. Of course, he's gonna have lawyers and all that. But nothing's gonna happen to him unless you know it's on papers and saying that this is it. Here's the money, and buy yourself some like a pallet of bricks or something like that, or pay this person to you know burn Tesla, or this money goes to the funding of this group that makes sure that you, I don't know, single out Jewish people, something like that. But I don't think he's that stupid. So zero things, but he's being on the spotlight. That's the main thing. He's going to be questioned, and he's probably they're running around and trying to hide things. That's what's going to do.
CCP is funding of nonprofits, anti-Israel groups, protests on college campuses, and at least one of the groups connected to these Los Angeles protests. His name is Neville Roy Singham. He's an American who sold his company in 2017 for close to $1 billion. So let me try and connect the dots further. Reports show that he funded groups like the People's Forum, that's based in New York City, to the tune of millions. The People's Forum has deep personnel overlap with the Party of Socialism and Liberation, known as
Yeah. So the questions it's probably going to get is something like, do you know that your group that you're funding is doing this, and that? Do you know that? Are you aware that this group is actually targeting Jews? Do you know that this, some along that line? And he's going to deny. He's probably going to say that I'm funding, the cause to free Palestine from Jews or from Israel or something like that. Something along that line.
PSL. It's a communist political party that has organized large-scale anti-ICE protests in Los Angeles. Now, Alex Goldenberg with the Network Contagion Research Institute has been unpacking Singham's influence and funding for 2 years. Here he is.
He has a footprint in India, South Africa, London, and is quite active in the United States, funding a network of nonprofit organizations to the tune of tens of millions of dollars.
Man, yeah.
And he's not just funding activism. What we find is he's funding and exporting an authoritarian aligned ideology under the banner of like American nonprofit
Yeah. See,
legitimacy.
told you. And that's how he's
Just
gonna. That's his scapegoat right there. You know.
last month, Senator Grassley sounded the alarm on Singham and the People's Forum nonprofit, pointing to foreign influence from Singham and the CCP. Last year, then Senator Marco Rubio and Lindsey Graham asked the IRS to revoke tax-exempt status.
These groups have not only disrupted Senate proceedings, but have engaged in violent anti-Semitic riots in many cities across the United States.
For the People's Forum, the New York nonprofit financed by Singham, quote, these groups have engaged in violent anti-Semitic riots in many cities across the United States. So to summarize this, you have China, you have violent anti-Israel protests and anti-ICE protests. The nexus of this is this network funded by this person, Singham. That's what they're alleging.
All right. So, Rich, the big question
I don't understand. I don't know what this guy, his ethnicity is maybe India. I don't know. But anyway, why not use that money to, like, clean up India or something? I mean, I'm Filipino. If I become a millionaire, that's probably going to do. I'd probably put some money into that clean up, some part of the Philippines, or you know what I mean, or feed the children. I'm sure he's probably doing that. I don't know. Maybe he's doing that, but I'm just saying it's just like it's a waste of money. It's a waste of money to fund those nonsense. I mean, he can do whatever he wants with it. That's just, my opinion. Is just a waste of. It's a waste of money.
here, why? What is the goal?
Well, if you talk to people like Alex, who we're about to hear from, he says, look, they're trying to co-opt. People have legitimate concerns about these deportations and these ICE raids. But this organization, this network is trying to co-opt them to further their agenda. Take a listen.
Okay, well, before that, who's legitimate concerns? You know who has concerns? The people who have broken the law. They're the one that have concerns. Not like, legal immigrants like myself and my family and my friends and I have legal immigrants on all walks of life. Different race, came from different countries. We don't worry about that. You know who worries about that? Those people that broke the law across the border. They know they have a rap sheet. They have the record. They know that their time's up. Those are the people that have worrying about these things. What we worry about is like those people that came across the border that we don't know who they are, and the violent criminals that have crossed the country with unvetted. Those are we have to worry about. We worry about those, not like the immigration raids.
Doesn't just promote anti-American sentiment, but openly supports authoritarian regimes, repeatedly amplifies voices that glorify terrorism, and cause for violent revolutions, such as the globalization of the Intifada. So what is being built here is not a protest movement. I really view it as infrastructure for a deeply un-American campaign to destabilize the country from within.
Now, Congresswoman Anna Paulina Luna says she has asked him to testify. If he refuses, he'll be subpoenaed. If he ignores that, he will be referred to the DOJ for prosecution. So, Nicole, this is a name from the experts we're talking to you're about to hear a lot more of in the coming days and weeks.
All right, we know you're following it all. Rich McHugh, thank you.
Why can't look at Chris Como. Why can't do that with George Soros? Well, George Soros is actually, he's pretty smart. He's trying to distance himself from that. Again, he's that guy, whoever that billionaire is, Zing. I don't know, he's probably going to get some advice from all these billionaires that's been doing it for many, many years. They'll probably say, hey, this is what you need to do. You can show up, but deny. Deny is your friend. All right. That's it.